Hello, Free Enterprise fans from around the world. Welcome to twitch.tv/Free Enterprise for tonight's Community Night Race. My name is Veritas Knight. I'm joined here in the commentary booth by our restreamer, Beauty and Discovery, our tracker, Xenocat, and joining me on commentary is Rexol. How are you doing tonight, Rexol?
I am doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic. I'm excited to see our race tonight. Tonight we're going to be doing the Sumomo Championship Racing flag set. Do you want to walk us through a little bit of that, Rex?
I can. This is a featured flag set for one of our community clubs in our Discord server. It is one that is head up by one of our veterans, Tall Grant, and the couple big keys of this flag set will be, first off, you see in the middle of your screen is our hero. So generally speaking, you're allowed to trade out party members at will as you go through the seed and follow through. But with the Sea Hero flag, which is one of the flags here in the flag set, Sid cannot leave your party. He's going to be in your party the entire time. More importantly, he's also going to be our agility anchor, which means based on how fast or slow Sid is, it will affect how fast or slow the rest of the party is, as well as the bosses and enemies. So you're thinking to yourself, well, why don't we just go ahead and surround Sid with a bunch of help? Well, you can, but you have to make your decisions, and they're pretty final. So two of the other big flags here are the C Permajoin flag and the C Buy flag. So what that means is when the new party member comes to join, including your starting partner at the very beginning, you get to choose, do you want this party member or not? And your decision's final. If you say yes, they're part of your party the rest of the game. If you say no, that's it, they're gone. And you have 7 unique characters to choose from.
Absolutely, and our runners tonight, Matic and Cubs Rule, will both have to make those interesting choices around which characters they take with them. Like you said, 7 distinct, and that's a potential point of divergence. Sometimes it comes down to who you choose to bring along with your hero that makes the difference in Sumomo.
It absolutely does. So we have our K main checks as we always do, but we also have the summon and moon checks on board, which means we're going to have to make the decision and decide how we're going to play our party out from the beginning all the way through some summon checks and potentially moon checks in order to get our key items in order to get this done. So do you want to talk about our objectives and what key items we will need?
That's right. So Sumomo Championship Racing always has those top 3 objectives: trading away the rat tail, launching the falcon, and conquering the vanilla ribbon room. That means we are going to need the hook. We are going to need the hook twice, really, for the rat tail and the falcon. We need that rat tail. We have to get the darkness crystal, and then we have a boss hunt in finding and defeating Leviathan, and then once again the darkness crystal will take us to the Giant of Babel, and the hook magma key might get us underground there for that king at the town of monsters. So we have those 5 static ones, but that boss, if that pops up early, especially if it's in a place one runner goes to in another, that could take us in 2 different directions as well.
Absolutely. I'm guessing if we do see the early Leviathan, that the complete the Giant of Babel objective will probably go right out the window. So these runners have to complete 5 of the 6 in order to get the crystal to go fight Zeromus. And let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, so we're going to see who's going to join up with our Sid to begin with. Looks like it's a Yang. There is a Mylon who gives away the Baron key. I guess he wants some guests. Looks like one runner, Matic, is keeping the Yang, and Cubs Rule says no thanks.
Interesting. Typically speaking, in the Sumomo flag set, you only get 7 characters, and you're going to take 5 of them. So you generally don't pass on anybody because you're not quite sure where you're going to find the 6th or 7th unique one, because they could be up on the Giant. They could be up on Zot. Those are 2 characters, 3 characters there between them. So you may not see a 5th character for quite some time if you don't take the starting one.
Absolutely. And looks like we're going to see some further divergence with Matic heading over to check Castle Eblin, looking for that slightly higher tier loot. Cubs is going to check the Baron Inn. He's going to see another Yang waiting for him behind an Asura and a second boss there. So I don't think he's going to feel enticed to take that right away, other than for the key item check. Matic is starting to loot.
Yeah, at that point in time, you're going to see Cubs probably end up taking Yang at some point in time, because We now know, obviously, with no free characters on this flag set, you don't have many options before you go underground.
Yeah, the next traditional one I think to check would be Mount Hobbs. Cubs is going to go raise that hovercraft, which is going to be required. We need it for 2 objectives, so you might as well get it out of the way. Matic continuing to check Castle Eblin, looking for those monster in a boxes to avoid at this stage, and to grab the rest of the loot here. So T Wildish is on, which means that we're going to see slightly... You can see something anywhere, but there's a slightly improved chance that further along in the games that you get. So
Yeah, and both of our runners are hoping for edge at this point in time. So Matic found a ninja sword over in Eblin, and Cubs found a pair of them there in the Damsian Treasury.
yeah, that would make that edge extremely powerful to start. Combined with his high starting agility would make this overworld pretty easy. Sid can handle the overworld on his own with a decent weapon, but yeah, you definitely want to find that edge, and Matic is going to go look and see who is waiting behind the boss on Mount Hobbs.
So I suspected Cubs has raised the hovercraft, and we'll see if Cubs goes over to Hobbs as well from here.
I think that was an Artemis bow that Matic just equipped, so that Sid is pretty tough to start with. He'll throw out a decent amount of damage. Cubs roll heading over. They find a Tella behind the Vanilla Mom Bomb on the top of the mountain. Matic decides to keep the Tella. We'll see if Cubs Rule does the same when he gets up there. That is an interesting conundrum, isn't it? Do we keep the Tella or not?
Yeah, because you've already seen 3 basically, I would say, and I'm going to get some arguments from the chat probably, 3 of your lesser tier characters you want to see on a Z fight run. You already have to keep Sid.
Now, there's advantages to that early Tella. It gives you access to exit, so you can move through dungeons like the Antlion Cave a lot faster. And if you complete Mount Ordeals and you find an early Darkness Crystal, it enables you to do a grind on the Giant, which could make the rest of the seed pretty easy.
That's a fair point.
Yeah,
Demon grind is open.
Tella's not the best Jack of all trades character, but he is definitely a Jack of all trades character.
He is.
So, it's options, I suppose.
All right, so Matic is through the Mom Bomb fight. Finds a mute knife. That could be helpful.
Matic's going to loot a little bit deeper on the mountain here. Cubs Rule still working on that fight. Odin, Lilith, Full Moon. Once again, there we can back row that edge. So Matic will take advantage of getting that exit on the Tella. Looks like Cubs Rule is going to do the exact same thing as he proceeds down through the mountain.
And I think that proves your point about having Tella in your party, because traditionally you wouldn't do this because of the walk all the way back out. But with that exit on Tella, you can loot a little bit deeper and then go ahead and exit.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's pretty common, especially if you have a starting Tella. It's pretty common to see people do a deeper dive into the Watery Pass, just to get that density of early treasure checks. Crystal Ring for Matic, that's not too bad to start off. That'll be nice for one of those characters. All right, so Matic taking the Antlion Cave, but Cubs Rule is going to pop over to Fabul and see what boss is attacking. Check the shops first, but then likely see what boss is attacking the castle today.
Sid with an arty bow and a crystal ring. That's going to be a very fast Sid.
Yeah, that is a quick Sid. Looks like he's found the Odin. This shouldn't take long.
Ooh, not quite a one-shot.
No, pretty close, but not quite.
That will do, though.
Yeah, Thor Rage to finish that up. We'll see what that first key item check that we're getting is going to pull out, and it looks like it is a Strength Ring, which is one of the items of all time.
That'll be good for Ying to help out at least.
Yeah, unfortunately, because Yang doesn't really, his claws don't give any bonus to damage. It's all based on those abilities and his level. So anything helps, but Yang sticking around until he gets up into high levels, he'll do some damage then. But to start with, it's not as much as a well-equipped Kane or Cecil or Edge can do, that's for sure. Meanwhile, Cubs Rule finds Kainazo invading Fabul, Matic checking the Fabul shops, and then likely taking the same fight as well.
I'd much rather see the Kinyazo fight here than on their moon check when they're going to have to go do the ribbon room or even the giant.
This is absolutely one of the nicer places to find a challenging fight. Throwing out that J item to take it out. Cubs rolls through, no problem. Matic continuing to check the shops.
And from his bed, the King of Fabul gives you a key. We can go underground now.
Oh, there we go. I know it's common or it's tempting to try to fade Fabul, but both runners taking it early to get that key seems like it is the correct play for this particular seed. Now that opens up a lot of opportunity here. If you do have that early tele, do you skip some of the early checks? Do you go check that Feymarch freebie? I don't think these runners are usually pretty thorough and pretty quick at execution, so I'm not expecting that. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, I'm wondering if that tele is going to help make that decision. As you mentioned, he does get his power after ordeals, and while you would normally fade ordeals, you don't have much in your pocket right now with Sid and Yang, so that might force their hand to go to ordeals just to get some power behind it.
If you can get through that grind, so if you can go to ordeals and find a darkness crystal and get through that grind, that Yang will be very powerful by the time you're done, and that will really make this seed pretty easy from a power perspective. Cubs Rule is going to go open the underground immediately, so we are going to almost certainly see what's down below. Tries to throw the wrong key down the well. Don't do that, folks. It won't work. You got to throw the magma key.
That would be unfortunate if you actually lost it. That would be terrible.
Well, you could, once you find the magma key, you can get it open, then you can go down the well to find it. It could be a side quest.
Oh, there you go.
So Matic gets through the Kainazo. It looks like it took him a little bit longer. He didn't bust out a J item with the same power. But he is through, will get his magma key. And then we'll see if Matic decides to head underground as well.
Now, when you're heading underground at this point in time with the party are you hitting the Feymarch check immediately? What are you hoping to see at the Feymarch check? Are we hoping for a pan so we can go back up to Fabul? Are we hoping for a earth crystal so we can get some items to the treasury? Or are we actually looking to try to make some headway here with a hook or maybe even the rat tail?
Well, I think that you want to get either the darkness crystal or the pan. I think those are the ones that unlock the most of what you're looking for. Another ninja sword for Cubs Rule. This seed is really saying you want to find an edge.
Right.
You really, really want to find an edge. Cubs Rule didn't go underground, open it up knowing he had to do it, but is going to go check Antline to get that strength ring. Matic is doing the first boss check of the seed, checking Mist Cave, and finds the Pale Dim, doesn't bother hanging out for that, and will reset out and go check Mist, Town of Mist.
Well, that's one sparkle out of the way at least.
Yeah, that's probably the sparkle you least want to see there. That or Plague, maybe. Plague can be tough in certain places, but in my opinion, Pale Dim is the easiest of the sparkles.
All right, so Cubs with the strength ring. Going to exit out using the Tela.
Yeah.
Cubs has not done Evelyn yet, so Cubs does not have the crystal ring.
No, I think that crystal ring was in the Antline Cave.
Sorry.
So I don't know if Cubs Rule just didn't pick that chest.
Yeah.
Matic checking the gated shop. So we have S standard on, which means that the shops that are gated are more likely to have more powerful items. So checking that gated shop is a pretty good way to see if there's something valuable out there. Matic continuing to loot in Baron Inn. Black shirt, no, it's not bad. Lunar stick, okay. Meanwhile, Cubs heading up Mount Ordeals.
We have that mute knife.
I don't think we have to worry about it at this 400 hit point location. One arrow will take down the Asura. And we see Golbez. So
Ooh.
strap in for a little bit of time wasting.
In the meantime, at Ordeals 1, Cubs finds out that we have a variation of Mylon. Could be vanilla, could be French vanilla, but it will also let us know who's in Baron. Mylon Z is in front of Ordeals, which means Mylon and Friends is going to be in Baron Castle.
Yeah, so Mylon Z here, probably not particularly challenging. Cubs rule doesn't have quite as much power without that Artemis bow, but should have more than enough to get through this fight. Meanwhile, over on Maddox's side, the Shadow decides to have a tasty Sid snack. But I believe this is probably just going to be Star Veils and punching to get rid of the Golbez, so it should be okay.
Yeah, so I found out something quite new because of last week that Golbez cannot defeat himself. So you have to get at least one shot in on Golbez for that to work. So you can bounce spells all day long, but without an attack hitting Golbez, he will not fall or not run away at least.
That's absolutely correct. The last swing has to be on Golbez from one of your party members. Otherwise, he'll never ask you that question. Well, why?
Why?
He's a philosopher, Golbez. I get it.
Backside of Ordeals is Sparkle. This could be rough.
And Maddox finds the Twin Harp. Ooh. So we're going to get a big wave over on Cubs Rule side, Twin Harp on Maddox's side. We're seeing a lot of this between Baron Key and Twin Harp. Quite a lot of availability to explore the overworld opening up early.
This is a cheeky fight on the backside of Ordeals.
Yeah, this is a tough spot to find that Ogo early, especially with the party in question. Maddox going to head on up, and I have to think Maddox is going to be in a little bit better of a position for the Ogo once he gets there. But Cubs is game. He's away with that Sid, trying to get through that dangerous noodle.
You'd definitely rather see something a little less formidable here than the Ogopogo. At the same time, if you have the tools to get through this, seeing Ogopogo here as opposed to later on in the seed is also preferable.
Yes, a challenging fight here, but certainly preferable in a lot of ways. Looks like Maddox did get that crystal ring, so Maddox all equipped up and ready to rock. I have to think that he's going to get through these a little bit quicker.
Yeah, Maddox was the one that we saw pick up the crystal ring. I'm not sure Cubs pulled it out when he looted it when he went through Alien Cave.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so Maddox is going to start with that Mylon. Yeah, the Artemis bow there doing a fair bit more damage than the axe was. Cubs Rule has got trying to keep Sid up and running, not taking much damage. It's just the waves that are doing damage to that Sid. So throwing a lot of items, gets the cure off in time. We'll see if he chooses to do another cure. Yeah, looks like that's the plan. And then hopefully we'll keep swinging away. Maddox doesn't bother for the second save, thinks he's got the power, and finds the Ogopogo.
Luckily, he didn't take too much damage off that first fight, so all three will survive the big wave barrage at the beginning.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten cocky here and gotten caught by this Leviathan that's waved down a good portion of my party. So Cubs gets through the Ogo. No, I don't want to say no problem, but manages it. Mm-hmm. We'll see how long it takes Maddox. Now, Maddox has done some additional checks on Cubs Rule. So having finished that Baron Castle and is up the Twin Harp. So good execution here could really help. And there it goes. There goes the Ogopogo. That's way faster.
Yeah, that crystal ring is going to matter a ton there.
Oh, yeah, especially early on. That's going to be a big difference maker.
Yeah, so we are on the Sea Hero flag, which I mentioned at the beginning. Our hero is Sid. So the one thing that changes here is when you have the Sea Hero flag, Sid will go into the mirror room by himself, as opposed with the whole party, which you traditionally see on a free enterprise seed.
Neither of these Sids should have too much of a challenge. It's another ninja sword. You want some more ninja swords? How are you feeling? You want ninja swords? I got ninja swords.
You want ninja swords? I've got 20. Oh, wait. Not quite, but close.
But you've got so many that you could throw some away if only you had an edge to do it. Exactly. Dr. Lugay won't he really even get into his speech. It does not take much to drop the good doctor here. So Cubs rule is through. We have to think Matic will be through very shortly thereafter. Both runners choosing to continue the fight, almost certainly to get Tella his full spell list. You know, if you get that, there's just a Dr. Lugay. There's no reason to stay here unless you're hoping for a Paladin Cecil later or you want to get those Tella spells online.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a cut scene, so in the event that the Zonk that you got here doesn't help the rest of your party by, like you said, Tella getting the spells, you would just assume exit out of this and reset out because you don't have anything else to gain by getting that 4th ninja sword.
Yeah, exactly. But both runners keeping it. Cubs rule first out and is going to head down. Probably going to head to Baron after this, but we will see. Now, Matic didn't do the Baron Castle when he did Baron Inn, so it's a little bit of running inefficiency, but the execution and the power levels that he's been able to accrue for this early game have more than made the difference, as these runners are basically one screen behind another, but Matic is up the Baron Inn check.
Yeah, at this point in time, you also have the summon checks on, so you have the Baron Basement, which we know neither runner is anywhere close to be able to take at this point in time. Well, that would be good information to at least see, just in case it happens to be someone like a Water Hag or a Officer and Soldiers, where you might possibly be able to take it with a little professional work there.
Yeah, I think Officer and Soldier might be doable with a few powerful J items, but or if Tella can live long enough to get a cast of something powerful off, but anything else, I think you're sitting there for too long to get through that fight at this stage. Matic's going to open up the underground. We'll see if he decides to go check out what's down below, but Cubs Rule working his way through the barren waterways. Going to go face that Mylon and friends and see who has taken the throne of Baron today.
Yeah, Tella has stone now, so that Officer and Soldiers would be susceptible to stone, not having the boss bit.
Good point. Yeah, but there's no guarantee on a stone cast either.
Is there a guarantee if he's in the middle spot, though? Or is it like a 99% chance?
I think it's high, but I don't think it's 100% all the time. So, Matic is going to go check the underground, is heading straight for Tomra. Going to go check the shops, I assume. Maybe check the Job Dwarf and find out what type of job the Job Dwarf had, which I think is the most important thing you can do in a game of free enterprise.
Oh, absolutely. That's information you can't get anywhere else.
Chat, do we have any Job Dwarf guesses? I'm curious if people have thoughts. I don't think I've ever seen a repeat. The Job Dwarf, there's so many options.
As far as Sirens are in Tomra, that'll be good information to have later on.
If your grind is going to be Sirens, it's good to know where they are. And the Job Dwarf... Service station attendant. Okay. Yeah. Clearly the Job Dwarf is from the state of New Jersey.
Fill her up, please. And our Tomra checks, we have another strength. We got Rune Ring. That Rune Ring would be nice. Magic up.
Alright. Cubs roll through that Mylon. His friends are long gone. We'll get to see that King next and see where Matic goes.
Matic looks to be going to the Fame March freebie.
Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense. Like we were saying earlier, you could get a pretty big item early enough on. Looks like he's going to take some chests. That's interesting. Now this is... Ooh, Murasame. Wow.
We need an edge. We really do.
either this seed is foreshadowing or it's just trolling heavily. So I didn't know that an evil wall, a wall of any sort, good or evil, could be king. Is that common in hereditary monarchies? I don't know.
Not as far as I'm concerned, but I could be wrong. I didn't study much history. For the Stardust Rod, though, they're in Feymarch.
Yeah, that Stardust Rod's a nice find. The freebie is a Dragoon Spear.
A lot
Cool.
of donks so far. That moon may have a lot of value this time around, especially at cave value.
Well, 6 potential key item checks up there. We've only found 3 key items so far, and we've done a fair few checks between our runners. So,
yeah, seeing Matic take those chests, just PTSD. I made the unfortunate mistake of checking a chest on the way down after doing Dwarf Castle, and the only chest I checked was the monster in a box, and set me back about 10 plus minutes.
see, if you're going to take chests, you just got to remember to save. That's the key.
There's a free rune ring.
Yeah, free rune ring. The evil wall is down. Matic found extra star veils in the Feymarch shop. Takes a moment to set up his item list, or his spell list, which I think is really a key thing for runners who are trying to get a little bit better to remember to do. And Cubs Rules finds the edge. There it is. There's the tough guy that you were looking for. Does not have I think it was a Masamune that Matic found, but 2 ninja swords will get that edge. That should solve a lot of damage problems for Cubs Rule.
And we've got a free fight, quote unquote free, on the king spot, which is an objective.
And then those dolls are pretty doable as well. Eventually.
And I did not see what was that. The spoon?
It was the spoon. So Edge has got his swords and something to throw. 4 ninja swords.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. Oy.
All right, so we're going to take a look at the Dwarf Castle shops here. More ninja swords.
Do you want to know? Yeah, I mean, you never have too many ninja swords. Sork robe's not bad.
Tiara there.
There's a heroine robe. No one who can wear it, but, nice to have in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. And some elixirs.
Cubs Rule decides to head to the inn, and I would think is going to pop underground, or maybe... We'll see, I suppose.
I don't see. We haven't seen any camping gear yet. So we have the unfortunate gauntlet there at Dwarf 1.
Yep, so Maddox going to be locked in, facing this gauntlet for a little bit. This is going to be interesting. That is an interesting gauntlet. Cubs Rule decides to take the Baron in. This shouldn't be any problem. We know it's a Golbez coming up. So both runners are going to be at their fights for a quick moment. So we'll take a second to shout out our Discord. So folks, if you are interested in learning how to play Free Enterprise, you're interested in joining the community, hanging out, or even joining the Restream team, because we're always looking for more people for commentary, tracking, and restreaming, you can hit us up. Our Discord is linked in the chat right now. If you're watching this back on YouTube, it'll be linked down below in the description. And at any time, you can go to FF4FE.com and you'll find the links there. We'd love to have you join. It's a lot of fun, and join the Restream team, because this is a lot of fun. And I'm having a great time hanging out with you, Rex.
It is a great time. No much more fun to be had on a Friday night, come to think of it.
Like I was saying earlier, it keeps me out of trouble, and that is the best possible outcome for all parties.
Absolutely.
And also, big thanks to Beauty for restreaming. Without Beauty hosting and offering his bandwidth, we would not be here. And Xenocat, thank you so much for tracking. You just it's a great team, and happy to be part of it and be part of the voice tonight. So And
All
also
right,
happy that our runners decided to get stuck in a little bit of a repetitive fight so that we can get the plugs in.
yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking at this point in time, um, we've seen a lot of zonks, which is probably making some of the decision why Maddox going to go through Dwarf Castle here. That and probably, obviously, we want to see another character. It's hard to convince yourself to go through a gauntlet fight if you don't absolutely have to, right? The long, long fight.
Yeah, especially with Tella as your sweeper type character as best as possible. Maddox has so many edge weapons. You have to think that's what he's hoping for here. Like, give me an edge. Come on. I'm ready. But we know Cubs Rule has found one. Now, Maddox is also probably trying to fade both the Harp and Baron until at least until he gets Earth Crystal. And then maybe he can do all three in a row and get that sort of perfect running going on or routing going on. Cubs Rule's finished up in Baron. Got the Twin Harp. Says, no, I don't need music today. But I want some levels. And it looks like he's going to go pop that single starting siren. There you go. How's that for alliteration?
There you go. He also said no to Yang for a second time. So would you please stop bothering me? We don't want your Girl Scout cookies here.
I'm not interested in using the kick ability. It's not that good. Go away.
I would love to see a there's a dark elf at the second fight. I would like to see a flag put in somewhere that gives Yang some power behind that. That's a Kane. It's not a bad character at all.
Other, you know what? He found some spears. Maddox found some spears. So Dragoon Spear, Gungnir. So there is some offensive firepower available there to that Kane. If Cubs Rule decides to go and do Dwarf Castle, I would think Cubs Rule will get through that gauntlet fight faster, especially with Edge and his flame ability available. So I would think this is a little bit of a catch up for Cubs. Cubs is still up to that Baron Castle check though, so yeah, this is getting tighter. This has been an interesting race.
A Runex find there in the Dwarf Castle Inn area.
Well, that's really good if you're intending on going and facing some mages somewhere. Magus Sisters can be annoying if they pop up in the wrong place, so that's a nice remedy.
Yeah. Takes a second to look at that ninja sword, like maybe I could use the fifth one. Decides against it.
Yeah, we can never have too many ninja swords. Chat, how many ninja swords is too many ninja swords? Let us know.
The limit does not exist.
All right, Maddox finishes up with that Dark Elf.
What our tracker Xenocat says they may be onto something.
11 ninja swords is too many ninja swords. Okay. 100 from Howlsat Moon. Okay. All right. Look, I'm not here to judge. This is not an answer that I'm going to judge you on. Just curious what people are thinking.
All right, and the warp glitch is on in the Sumomo flag set. We do have warp on our Tella.
Another really good reason to keep him when he shows up, that's for sure.
And there's a hook.
Now, that is a fascinating find. So, we have to assume our runners will be skipping Sealed Cave, which could be interesting if that Leviathan boss is there. Mm-hmm. So, if with the hook in hand, there's no real reason to go down to that Sealed Cave unless you're boss hunting.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting if that Luhiki ever shows up, or if we don't see Leviathan as we get through this seed a little bit further. Another really interesting place that Leviathan to be would be the second boss on the Giant, which would basically make at least half of Giant required. It'd be very, very interesting. There are options here to make this seed really neat.
I mean, Leviathan at the Kaipo Inn would be great as well.
I don't think we're ever going to see. But you never know if a runner feels behind and the package turns up. So Maddox is going to go set up the first Sheila check. We don't have the pan. So if we do find the pan, it will be a triple dip of Fabul, but sometimes you got to triple dip. Fabul only, don't triple dip your chips or vegetables. You know, when you're
Don't do that. You'll
the
lose friends that way.
holidays, family. Don't triple dip in the charcuterie board, but you know it's okay for Fabul.
Yeah, you'll lose friends that way. We're hoping for a rat tail here. It would be nice with the darkness crystal. Rat tail after finding the hook always feels good. What doesn't
Yes,
feel good is getting the pan here. That doesn't feel good.
Vanilla pan is never feels good. That's right.
Survey says.
Ooh. Okay. Well, the crystal sword. So we've seen 5 of the characters so far available on the seed. There's 2 more out there. There's no reason one of them couldn't be a Sid or a Cecil. Sorry.
And unfortunately, that's the only way we're using that sword, except for some chump change, because that is the sword that Edge cannot throw. Speaking of Edge, he's a little worse for wear over here during this gauntlet fight.
Yeah, the gauntlet not going as smooth as I thought it might for Cubs. So I think he's at the last fight. I think I haven't been paying attention. I'm sorry.
This last one.
Yeah, Brandor 5 in chat has asked
That's
why
good.
is Mysidia the first stop to get characters, and that's because free characters are off. So only characters that are behind gated checks or the bosses like Mount Hobbs or at the altar on the moon are available.
I didn't even see who that was. Well, we know it wasn't Leviathan. That much we know because Matic was set out. So
I didn't see it either. It was a 2 sprite boss because the second sprite popped.
King Queen Evelyn, thank you so much, dear beauty. Appreciate it.
Not where you want to see that boss, but it is what it is, I suppose.
All right, so Matic is going underground via the hook route, even though we already have access, because there's a nice shop here which has Bacchus wine and some hourglasses. It's got a character check, which I think at this point in time we're hoping for the guy. And then we got 2 boss checks. Oh, not to mention it knocks off an objective by launching the Falcon.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that this is very low. Hourglass 2 is in Bacchus, so are you going to loot the cave and try to get those? Probably loot in once you get to the tower and try to get those mad ogres, or are you going to save that for the moon? Maybe. Maddox found sirens and hourglasses, so Gold Dragon Grind is available.
Yeah. And Matic does have a rune axe and a mute knife. So those ogres.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots of options here. But character check and an objective. Do your objectives. That's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard as a free enterprise runner. Do the objectives. Just get them done.
Not even saving at the same point. That's an edge, which Matic needs.
Matic doesn't have an edge, so yeah, I think Matic's feeling pretty good.
That's an Octodam at the boss too. That's not going to be fun.
No, it'll hit pretty hard, but well, you berserk up the edge, you should be able to reduce its speed pretty quickly.
That's fair.
Now, Matic doesn't have an emergency spoon to throw because Matic didn't complete the Baron Castle yet. And it looks like Matic's party is complete, so if Cecil shows up, sorry, you're not hanging out today.
Yeah, because at this point in time, Matic would only be able to see a character at Baron Castle with what we've found so far. And I think at this point, we're happy enough with our edge as opposed to waiting for Cecil.
Yeah, I think
all that equipment for him already.
I think it's just time. You have to take the edge with the power that with the ninja swords that have been on offer, and the ninja swords and the ninja swords and the ninja swords.
Yeah, I mean you have edge in the cane. You're not in bad shape.
No, especially if you're able to find an Avenger somewhere along the way for that cane. who may or may not be a pig right now. Cubs Rule's going to pop into Tamra. We'll find the sirens, be able to pick a few of them up.
That's right, the Murasame sword on Maddox's side, as well as the full moon. So we have a back road edge, or a potential back road edge, currently in the front row.
Yeah, Cubs Rule was able to back row his edge right away, so I think they both have that ability. Getting that ooh, defense sword. There we go. Yeah, Kane's ready to rock, that's for sure. Really putting a rock in Kane's fist there. So that's fun.
Yep.
Cubs Rule is now going to go check out the Fey March to get the Kane-based rewards. Did you see if he took the Kane, by the way? I didn't.
I did not. I was too busy trying to figure out how Maddox is setting up for this fight. Because he still has the Artie bow on Sid.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Oh, it's a Rubicant or Elements. It's a Ruby. Damar says he took the Cane. I believe you, Damar. Dragoon Spear in that Fey March freebie spot. The magic doesn't punch too hard here in this spot, but still enough.
Yeah, it doesn't. These ice 2s that are going to come back if we start swinging here, that won't be as bad, but the punching is going to hurt a little bit here.
Yeah, I think you really want to get a blink or two off if you can. I believe Tella has blink.
Yep, Tella should have blink.
Well, looks like there is an Ice Claw in play, though. That Yang is doing numbers.
There we go. And we get a free heal on the backside of this fight. Because in the vanilla fight, in the vanilla Final Fantasy IV, this is where the Rubicant fight would be. A little French vanilla action. And he is so nice that he's going to refill your hit points and magic points before your fight to make it fair.
That's right, that's right. Cubs Rule takes a look at the bosses.
Think about it.
I think he's going to take them. Try to take one.
I mean, that king is an objective. So the non-boss bit fight is an objective. We've got Atella. I mean, you at least take a swing at it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think you have it, you want to do it now, it's a key item check. That could be your Darkness Crystal. That could be your Pan. That could be a few things. Maddox threw out a Silk Web to start by slowing down the Octomam and is getting those Berserkers on the go. Lit 3 to throw a bunch of damage down. The arms are starting to drop, so I think that he's got this fight well in hand.
The Rune Ring there in the Fey March save room. So we have a Stardust Rod and a Rune Ring on Tella.
Yeah, that's getting that Tella ready for that stone cast.
Yep. Tella is in the middle spot, which we discussed does have more accuracy than the other spots.
Yeah, with that level of gear, it should be a pretty good chance.
Yeah, we just gotta hope that he gets it off without getting hit. It is Officer and Soldiers.
Yeah, they're not going to hit that hard here. Should be, well...
F says, I'm sorry, what?
That's hard enough.
Yeah. Octomammoth is down on Maddox's side.
So Maddox is going to complete the first objective of the seed almost. Well, they're really close. They're going to be really close.
Instead of choosing to cast Stone, Cubs decides to Berserk up Edge instead.
Curious.
Very curious.
There's Tella.
Yeah. All right,
yeah, I would have expected to see the stone cast, like you said, Rex, but Maddox through is going to show us there is, I think that was Leviathan at the top.
That was Leviathan at the top. So we now know where Leviathan is.
Well, that's going to incentivize Aquila's tower check.
Absolutely.
We will see two of the soldiers down.
Yeah. Do we have a coffin? I don't believe we have a coffin. We'd have used it by now.
I would hope so anyway.
We're down
This is
anyway.
Yeah, this is becoming a bit of a long fight here, but
Does Matt go straight up at this point in time?
Yeah, officer should retreat here. There it goes. Maddox decides to head back to the Fey March and is going to take at least one of those bosses, probably the king.
Hey, a silver apple for your troubles. But that is an objective, our first. On Cub's side.
Yeah. So each runner has an objective done, but I would think Maddox is pretty close to getting through to objective number 2 here. Cubs is heading out, decides not to bother with the queen today. Don't need to worry about the dolls. We'll see if Maddox decides to take both. It looks like Cubs is going to go pop a siren. Oh, he was able to get 10 sirens, so
Yep.
could do a few here. We'll see.
So Matic taking a nap at the Marriott. Most expensive inn in the game at 1,200 gold.
Well, look, but are the beds any good? That's the real question.
I mean, it looks like a quality sleep to me.
100% healed. I
Yeah,
wish
we'll
I could
take-
feel that good after a hotel stay.
No way.
I don't sleep. I don't sleep
No
well in
way.
hotels, Rex. I don't know about you.
Absolutely not. Gotta have my own bed. We did see that Mac took the speed off of Sid and moved Tele to center row, so maybe we will see Hourglass at the top, Bacchus at the top. Let's see if Mac's going to use Stone as well. Going to be smart and at least up them first.
Gonna use the
They practice
hourglass. That makes sense. All right, Cubs Rules picked up some levels and is going to head on down to set up the Sheila 1 check. We know that's going to reward with the Crystal Sword, which doesn't seem like it's going to be useful in the sea other than for a pretty bit of coin. Maddox is going to try to stone the end of swing and a miss.
Great one. It's okay because they're stopped, so they can keep swinging. We're waiting on until they come back again. You might as well try to cast it again. It would save you the rest of the fight. Just going to try to hit the back, I think. No, just try to do the.
It's a base hit. I think if you do that, it's a base hit, right?
Yeah. Single up the middle. It's a lot of experience, though, doing it that way. So if you know that it's going to be more difficult to get all 4 of them, I don't know the math behind it. At least taking out the officer will give you the additional XP. So
That's right. And any XP you can get through the normal course of the game is XP you don't have to grind for later.
correct. And this is going to be a pretty decent spot for XP at this point in the game. That gets his crystal sword and says, "Dang it, where's my Cecil?"
Yeah, 29. A couple levels worth.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Maddox will get his silver apple. We'll see what he chooses to do next. Cubs Rule also with some options here. Now, that darkness crystal is starting to get elusive. We've seen quite a few of the available checks done, but both runners have chosen so far to fade the harp.
So,
Maddox has chosen to fade Baron Castle, and both runners, Cubs has ignored the dolls, which in the queen position, which we're seeing Maddox take right now.
yeah, so this could get interesting. Those aren't going to hit terribly hard, but you can only stop half of the dolls. So the back half will be stopped here. So you're only dealing with 3 of them. And by stopping them, they also will not combine into the big doll, the Calbrenna. So Manic will spend his time here knocking out these first 3. Now, Kane's jump, you can't guarantee where he's going to land. Helpful hit there.
Cubs is going to go and check the harp. So this is interesting. we know Matic is incentivized to do Keyless Tower. There's a boss up there that's required. But if this is not the Darkness Crystal or otherwise progression, that really makes it likely that progression is going to be down in Cave Magnus. So it's just a really interesting decision here. And some fun divergence, I think, for us.
Yeah. But of course, Matic does know that Keyless Tower is Leviathan. Cubs does not yet, because Cubs hasn't done the Falcon. So Matic may be having that in his back pocket, thinking, okay, I know that that's where my objectives are. I'm going to try to take out some key items now while I'm here.
Yeah, I almost wonder if this is, I feel a little behind. I'm going to do the harp. A lot of top tier runners do not love checking the harp. Cub's going to take a save down at the bottom. We'll see. We'll see what's here.
Well, Cubs already is down to 1 hit point on a bunch of his party members, which will make this an instant perish. Save a lot of time here. Oh, wait.
Edge looks... Oh, no. Tella.
Oh, you missed. Oh, no. Tower key. At the queen spot.
Yeah, so that really makes it so really efficient for Matic. It won't be great if there's no payout on the Super Cannon room, but at least Matic gets to feel like he doesn't have to double dip the tower. I think it was Beauty pointed that out in the chat. So as the likely reason why Matic didn't just run up and grab the Leviathan right away. So I think this is a nice win for Matic right now. He's probably feeling pretty good about that play.
Yeah, it'd also be nice, especially when they do decide to go to the moon. We have some pretty nasty bosses still left to face up there, and you'd like to say, hey, I know where the tower key is, at least. I've already made that check as well, so I have some more information that Cubs may not have now. Not only do you know where the tower key is, but you're also going to know what's behind the tower key. So more information is always good information. It looks like it's time for us to listen to some music, doesn't it?
All right.
Yeah, totally missed the boat on that.
Yeah, that's okay. I think there was a Chrono Cross there. Meanwhile, the Dark Imps are... I think they were in the Super Cannon room, so Vanilla Dark Imps?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there we go. Not so hard there. They can really punch on the moon, so I'm pretty happy if I see them there if I'm Matic. Cubs rule, though. What a payoff. That's the Darkness Crystal.
So, Fade March cannot be faded.
So we know Matic might be able to find the rat tail through here. Matic will not find the Darkness Crystal. The Darkness Crystal is required. Cubs Rule gets a very, very nice advantage after choosing to go pick up some music.
Yeah, I think you're not going to want to see the Earth Crystal here. That's probably the last thing you want to see here.
I think if you're Matic, it's probably good to see the Earth Crystal here because it will drive you to consider the harp. But, yeah, everything's on the table. Cubs Rule is going to go launch the Falcon, it looks like. Leviathan is going to throw out that big wave, but there shouldn't be too much threat here. The Ice 2s will not be doing that much damage.
A little wine for Edge. A little wine for Young. A little party going on here.
It's a God of the Sea party, and everyone's invited.
Cubs is hanging onto that crystal sword. Only has 4 party members. Hoping.
We know on the other end here there's a duplicate Edge. Will
Right.
not find his 5th character after fading the Yong twice. We still haven't seen characters 6 and 7.
We have not.
So they could be up the Tower of Zot, they could be at the end of the Giant, they could be behind the altar on the moon. So there's still options here, but
Rat tail.
Ooh. So double required tower as well. So Cubs Rule will get the information Leviathan's the top of the tower once he gets through this particular once he gets through Babel.
Yeah. You almost want to see the rat tail behind the cannon, though, if you're Matic.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But Maddox's running out of places to check. So once Maddox checks the rat tail, it's the Baron key and the... unless, of course, rat tail opens up... well, no, we know Luca key is not going to be valuable to you.
Or Crystal Lord wouldn't drive him anywhere else.
Oh, Pan can make you run around for a little while.
Yes, Edge pointing at Edge. What are you here?
This is going to be interesting. We're really getting into a little bit of an execution style piece here. If Cubs decides to take Keyless Tower, it's going to be interesting.
Awesome Monet.
It's not a bad reward for your Edge, but Maddox looks like he's going to go turn in that rat tail immediately. Hoping it's the darkness, but it won't be.
Yeah. That's okay, because Matt now has 2 monsters on Edge.
Yeah, that's a potent Edge. The only thing else you really want to show up is a Zeus Gauntlet and a Power Shirt, and that Edge is going to be powerful. But Cubs Rule is going to come down and face the Rubicant that is 1 step ahead of the normal Rubicant.
Let's see what's behind the rat tail.
It's the pass.
Okay. I don't think that's necessary in the seed.
Well,
because all that has to do now is find the garden crystal. It doesn't need to leave the moon.
Yes, I don't think we're going to see too much in the way of in the way of that check. So the other place that Matic could be considering is we still haven't seen the D-Mist. So if theoretically the Darkness Crystal was behind that, there could be a D-Mist hiding at the Sealed Cave or Zot 1 that's blocking your darkness progression. But obviously we know where it's at, but and most likely Matic is going to go chase that harp now, but there's still other options on the table here.
Yeah, I'm wondering though if we're not going to go Baron first because you've got 2 checks there.
Yeah, Baron Basement is also still available. That's a good point. Another one that leads to some checks.
Oh, nope. Oh. Here we go. Harp.
Yep. So once Matic finishes this off, Matic is 100% in go mode. Cubs Rule technically also in go mode because could do the ribbon, could do Leviathan. We'll know about the Leviathan after this fight. Yep. And could do the Giant, but obviously I think the faster way is to head on up and do Keyless Tower. But it looks like Matic is going to be a little bit ahead. Should be able to get through this fight before Cubs Rule can finish off the Octomam, launch the Falcon, and do Keyless Tower, assuming that's the order of operations Cubs Rule chooses to follow.
How much grinding are you going to do with the party you have?
I think you got to do some. Your Edge is powerful. Yong can be pretty potent in the end fight, but you've got to get both those characters high enough level to get through it.
We're not going to this time, though. We're going to
Yeah.
let everybody enjoy Chrono Cross this time.
Yeah, we'll definitely be quiet here this time. On behalf of Rexel, I want to apologize to the Free Enterprise community for talking a little bit during the last one. So here it is. You're going to get this one uninterrupted, we promise. But with that double massa edge, it'll probably be a little bit shorter anyway. Truncated by victory.
All right, and as suspected, Cubs is heading straight up the tower after seeing Leviathans up there.
Yeah, so we know that the tower key is not going to be required for anything here. Rob Satplayus is asking an interesting question. Is there a conceivable scenario in which the giant is preferable to the ribbon room?
I want to
And
say absolutely not.
you know,
Personally,
what if you combined it with your grind?
that would be the only reason to do it. With sirens already being found, though, and hourglasses, I'm not quite certain that that's going to be a quicker grind to do it that way. If we were
Yeah.
still at the 28-minute mark, then absolutely. Combine them together, do your grind up there, and go ahead and knock it out. At the 1 hour mark, though, and you have access to sirens, I think it's much quicker to... Yeah, to your point. Yeah, exactly, Rob. If you have those sirens and edge, then yeah, you're doing the D-money grind, you're doing that one shot. But with the where we're at in the seed and who we have, we're definitely just buying the sirens and going that route.
Yeah, and I would think that is the fastest option. I would also think that with a couple of the big free key bosses taking out the board, so Maddox's going to do the grind. It looks like down here in the underground, we're going to scramble some eggs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You got the dragon spears, so it's be easy.
Just get through it. 19 sirens. Okay. How do you like your eggs, Rexel?
How about nicely sliced? In real life, though, scrambled, always scrambled. I'm pretty basic that way.
Honestly,
I'll take a fried egg on a sandwich. But mostly scrambled eggs.
I honestly like a hard-boiled egg. I've been eating those a little bit more lately. But scrambled, over easy, sunny side up.
I'll eat doubled a lot. Doubled eggs are good. My jam.
Poached.
Interesting.
My dad makes poached eggs every Christmas morning, so...
Yeah. I don't do running eggs, I will tell you that much. I don't do running eggs.
Oh, no, I like the yolk, That's where all the experience is in the yolk. I mean,
True.
It's the nutrients.
For all the life is. All right. So Cubs now has Leviathan down, has the rat tail, has the darkness crystal. So Cubs is making a beeline out of the tower to go turn that rat tail in. The question here is: Are you going to get your experience on the moon, or are you going to try to grind beforehand like Maddox is doing?
The Cubs rule already has sirens. Was able to pick up a fair few earlier. Didn't see if Cubs grabbed hourglasses. Does have a dragoon spear and a cane. Do you go right to the moon? Do you pick up some dragons on the way down to the ribbon room? I would be strongly tempted to do it that way. And that's going to mean less fights to get the amount of experience you need. And Cubs rule is switching airships. You got to have the right airship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to be close. This is going to be close.
Yeah, running decisions. There's still the potential for a real nasty boss at the.
Oh yeah, D-Mist at Ribbon Room would be terrible.
Yeah, Antlion. There's some options there for nasty bosses, and then of course, depending on what how many levels you risk Zeromus with, there's always the possibility Zeromus decides you're not having a good day.
There's no such thing as an easy seed, at least in my opinion.
So Cubs Rule is going to go launch the big whale. Will be the first one to launch the whale and become a moon explorer.
Astronaut may be the word you're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
It's Yuri Gagarin, Alan Shepard, Neil Armstrong, and Cubs Rule. That's how it works, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think Sid's got the gear for it already, doesn't he?
He's got the goggles.
Yeah. All right, Maddox said I've had enough of these eggs. Off I go. So they're both heading up moon pretty much the same time.
Cubs will get there first, but probably needs to do a little bit of grind. Maddox will, and I'm curious if I didn't see how many levels exactly Maddox has, but curious if he's going to pop one or two more eggs on the moon as well. Or not eggs, sirens, sorry.
Yeah. I'd be curious. Neither runner has 10 key items, so you're only going to get 100,000 experience from the Ribbon Room, as opposed to 200,000 if you had that 10th key item.
Yeah, Mr. Tofu's. What's the rest of that? Mr. Says mid 40s. Yes. So okay. Efficient. You definitely want a little bit more experience for your Zeromus fight, I think.
Well, you don't have. Tello's your only caster in his party, correct?
Yeah.
So you're not trying to get all the way up to nuke. You're just making sure you have enough power, and then make sure no one dies to Big Bang. So he might be okay here.
That for Berserker strat, it's possible. But Cubs.
I'm not comfortable with that level, but I've definitely seen others do it.
No. And both these runners definitely better than me. Cubs Rule will get to complete his party. Let's find out.
Edward. Rosa, a white mage. He already sold the heroine robe, which is unfortunate.
I heard you wanted a caster. Robe.
Yeah, there's your caster.
Now we do have C permajoin on, so Maddox won't get a choice here. No Rosa. Cubs checking out low 30s. Oh, where are you going, Cubs?
Probably a save to get rid of the cutscene. Oh wait, nope. Cheap heal. All right, so now technically Maddox back ahead by about 14 steps.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Cubs trying to go back up to wherever Rosa came from. You can't go there.
I don't want the Rosa. I want a Cecil instead. Return to center.
You can't park here. All right, so Maddox will give us our first look at... Well, Maddox may look at some dragons on his way down, but we're thinking he's going to find the Ribbon Room first.
Yeah, I would think that Maddox is going to be the first to the Ribbon Room here. Has the advantage on experience and the advantage on positioning. We will see.
Yeah, the Cubs is taking Sirens. You just need to whiplash that Rose, if nothing else.
Yeah. I would think Cubs is going to get through this pretty quickly. We will see what happens. Sid falls over, but he's the hero, so even if he's lying on the ground, he gets experience. I wish I could get experience for sleeping. But my boss says that's not an acceptable way to approach work, so I got to pay attention.
That is not. Little slingshot on Rosa. So you want to explain slingshot to some of our viewers while we're waiting here?
Yeah, so when a character is more than 5
5.
levels,
Yep.
5
Mhm.
levels below the party, or 2 characters, then you can do 2 characters at once. The first experience you get is doubled, so that Rosa would have gotten 180,000 experience there, which means she gains 23 levels to catch up. So that's a nice little catch-up mechanic to ensure that you find that late character, you can catch them up pretty quickly without having to go through as much pain. But Matic is heading right for the boss here. We're going to see. It's CPU.
CPU.
Ooh,
CPU. Not fun.
yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight. So the damage here is keyed to hit points. So each strike with the mazer will reduce 1/10 of the character's hit points. But normally not that big of a problem. But it's kind of tough when your healer is Tella.
Yeah. That Rosa would have been nice.
Yeah. So
Robsat plays should have gone giant. Well, hindsight in that whole 2020 thing. I don't know if Demus is sitting there at Giant 1. I don't know. You may have some experience with that kind of fight. I might have had experience with that kind of fight. We don't want to see Demus at Giant 1. So
yeah, that's a long fight. It's hard in play, but it's long.
yeah, Beauty, that spoon's gone. I guarantee you that spoon's gone.
Yeah,
As soon
I
as
would.
see CPU, that spoon's gone.
I would think so. That would be the first thing I would do is throw the spoon. And
All right,
that
so
could
we have
be
exactly a lunar staff for Rosa is all we have. So
blue staff's fine. I would think that throwing that spoon would do a lot of help to catch Cubs roll up here.
yeah, well, the difference is going to be that spoon versus Edge having a Masa Mura combo. It might even itself out.
Matic is throwing everything but the kitchen sink.
Mm-hmm.
But oh no, gonna go for the fight right away. Okay, we'll see.
No, we're gonna get the defender out of the way first, and then we're gonna throw a sprint at the CPU. You don't want to throw that spoon and have the defender give 3,500 of it back.
You are completely right. Spoon should only be thrown when efficient.
Yep. Also true. This would have been the one time I'd pay off the back row Yang so we can get that ZPU. So back rowing also is not just affects your own party, but also affects the enemy party. So that CPU will be in the back row, unless you have a way to neutralize your back row damage modifier, which is usually was it half strength in the back row?
What can? Yeah, but what character? What item do you use to back row the Yang?
Oh, someone's gonna write. I know you can do it. Someone's gonna go in chat and tell us here, but
There goes the spoon.
there goes the spoon gone. There is a way to do it, and I forget what it is. I'm sure Edge can sneak glitch a charm harp.
I am just gonna believe you that that's a thing that can happen. I don't know. Matic first to the crystal.
The pain
Finds
and the
pan.
Luke.
It's a lot of key item checks.
Well,
hiding.
That's. We knew the moon was gonna be loaded because of what we saw down. What are we doing here?
I would think Matic is going to head back to the blue planet. Going to use that pass after all. And I think this makes sense. We were talking about levels. If you're not that confident on levels, but you want to give it a shot, this means that going in from Toroya, you're going to be quicker if you have to reset.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the play here is go to where I have a much closer save file to Zeromus just in case.
Well, That means we have a little spiel to do. Would you like me to take the honors on that, or you want to take it?
Well, go ahead.
Well, all right. Well, let's talk about what Free Enterprise actually is. It is a Final Fantasy IV randomizer. If you haven't figured that out by now, you're about an hour to 11 minutes late, and we haven't done our job properly. But what does that actually mean? Well, that means we have randomized the location of the bosses, the characters, the key items, the treasures, but we cannot randomize the location of the final boss of the game, Zeromus. He would just be too dang strong in any other location. So what we've done is we've called upon the assistance of our wonderful graphic artists in the Free Enterprise community to come up with hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds of sprites to take the place of the Zeromus sprite once you use the crystal upon him. So it's become a tradition, a custom, if you will, to ask the following question when we do reach the Z fight. And what is that question, Veritas?
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of Zed flags in chat, including from at least one handsome commentator. And the question we're going to ask is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight, folks? And there's a lot of sub questions, but I'm not one for the memes. I just want to know who Matic is going to face.
We'll see in a moment. In the meantime, Cubs is down to just the attacker, so... And it is gone now. So Cubs is now ready to get the crystal on his own. And let's see what we got here at the Z fight. I think Cubs have to get a couple more levels first, though.
We'll see what Cubs decides to do. Matic is in the fight now. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think the levels are probably good here, especially for an experienced runner like Matic. The crystal is thrown. Looks like Cubs is also going to reset out and head back to the blue planet to use the pass. True colors emerging. Gurg.
No, we're going to go do a grind. Nice. Gato mess from Chrono Trigger.
It's Gato.
Nice.
You know what, though? Matic is going to get 15 silver points if he gets through this fight. And what better reward could you ask for?
Silver points?
Yeah, you got to beat him like... if you beat Gato enough, you can take those silver points and get yourself a Chrono doll. Which you could use... Theoretically, if your friend Chrono were to be obliterated by an evil alien consuming the world for 65 million years, you could then use the eponymous Chrono Trigger to go back in time and replace him with the Chrono doll.
That'd be a fantastic idea.
Yeah, just saying.
Theoretically,
it could happen.
Theoretically.
Could happen, but not in this game. So Matic is starting up his strategies here against Zeromus. We've got that double Massa Edge and the Young Berserked Up and the Cane. This looks like we're doing all Berserkers all the time. And Cure 3s.
Robsat plays. Hey, Rexel the Gamer Dad, if someone were just starting out playing this game and wanted some good beginner async races, where should they go? Well, first you're going to want to join our Free Enterprise Discord. By that, you're going to have access to a wonderful community of helpful individuals who are going to help you along your way and get you started. From there, you're going to want to go to the Newbies Corner, which is where our new people go in, introduce themselves, say hi, and say, hey, I want to know more about Free Enterprise. Then, we have a special club just for our newer players. So just like this flag set is part of the Sumomo Racing community, Sumomo Championship Racing Club, we have a Tella's Trainees Club that is designed specifically for our newer runners to get their feet wet and learn how to play for Enterprise. So yeah, appreciate the question there, Robsat Plays. In the meantime, we have Atella laying on the floor.
Yeah, that's Tella's natural place during a Zeromus fight. So the first big bang that was thrown out was nerfed, which means a direct cast occurred on Zeromus, and as a result, he lowers his magic to throw out a nuke, and then the lowered magic stat remains when the big bang hits, which takes it from, 2,000-ish damage to 800 to 1,200 damage, and that can be the difference between success and victory in a lot of cases. A lot of runners will try to nerf the second Big Bang, you got to wait for the shake. But if you tip him over into the next phase, you could have a fake shake. It's tough. Fighting Zeromus is tough. And if you're interested in finding out more, you should also pop on the Discord. You will figure stuff out.
Yep.
With the help of some great walkthroughs and advice there. Cubs Rule is still taking some dragons to get up to level, but looks like this fight's going pretty good for Matic.
Yeah, this should be over in a matter of probably the next 45 seconds for Matic at this rate. And in the meantime, this is probably going to be Cubs' last grind fight, and then we'll exit. We'll exit back out of the cave and then head down to. I would imagine we'll exit out and then go straight into the Troya entrance, because we've already gone all the way back out of the LST.
So there's that unnerfed Big Bang we were talking about. It's that full damage. Sid's acting as an alchemist and will throw a cure potion onto Edge to make sure he stays in the fight. But my guess is that should be the last time we see a Big Bang. The next move we see from Zeromus will probably be a Meteor. Oh, Black Hole.
Black Hole first.
Way to make me a liar.
That's unfortunate, because what does Black Hole do? Removes status effects, which means those 3 Zerkers no longer Zerked.
That's right. I don't know how many wines that Matic had left, so we'll see. Sid throwing out some more potions.
And here's way to wait for this. Here's our rocks. Okay. So if you see Nuke, you're almost there. If you see Meteo, you're basically knocking on the door of ending the seed.
It's a pretty rough hit. The cane goes down. Sid's going to live, though, so we'll be able to get out another cure potion.
Yep.
Edge will balk us back up. So that should be it. Usually we're within about 8 to 10,000 there.
Yang's going to drink some more. Doesn't want Edge to drink alone. What a good friend.
There you go. Cubs has got his levels, and he is heading back to the blue planet to use the pass. Second Rocks will take out Sid, and we'll just have these 2 Berserk characters, but that should be it in a moment here.
45 seconds went to not.
There it is, I think.
Maybe? No?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. It froze there for a second on my screen, so.
That's right, same here. So Matic completes the seed in 1 hour, 18:39. GG's to Matic.
GG's to Matic. Why did Matic switch to BS3? My guess is because did not want to have to worry about chasing the curing with using the cure 3 potions instead of curing the entire party. Having to use multiple turns.
I think with the inability to really go wide with those cure 4s later on, knowing that Tello is going to be snoozing his way through most of the fight, you want to be sure you can execute on your cures and keep your Berserkers in the fight. And also, if you've been playing a lot of Alpha 5.0, you might have just gotten into that habit, because the new Fast ROM flag makes the Zeromus fight way harder.
The new Alpha flags? What are you talking about?
Well, as you know, we are always developing and adding new options to Free Enterprise, so there is the Alpha version of 5.0 is currently available. You can find out more on our Discord, and you can experiment with a whole bunch of new flags. And if you're interested in seeing some of those, check out our video library on YouTube, youtube.com/freeenterprise, and you can see some really interesting community races from the past few weeks where we've experimented with new flags.
All right, so we see Cubs going up to take his turn at Gatumus. And that sound is Matic joining.
Matic, congratulations, GG's.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So I've got a few questions for you.
Yes.
The first is, what are you going to do with your 15 silver points?
I get 15?
Yeah, that's what you get for beating Gato.
That's right. I completely missed that reference. Well done. Well, I guess I have to beat him a few more times to... Oh boy, I don't want to have played that game. But yes, that was a rather interesting, a well-rolled seed, I will say. That was a lot of fun. Quite a lot of, I guess I'll say, interesting character choices in this one. having the Cid and the Yang and stuff like that. It was interesting.
So the big difference that you'll see when you watch this back is you faded Baron, if I recall correctly.
Mhm.
And I'll spoil it for you. There's an edge behind the Baron, and then the Spoon. What was the rationale for skipping out on that Baron check?
After hitting up the Magma Key, honestly, I probably should have skipped Baron in as well. I think looking back at it, I guess it worked out for me. But I mean, having the Magma Key at hand, I just wanted to get underground. And first, my party was pretty weak, and I felt like I wanted to. I mean, there was a choice of either a character check from Baron, or a character check and a lot of experience from Dwarf Castle. So I opted first to go to Ordeals to get Tell online, since that was basically a requirement with my very underpowered party that he needed to be online. And then I just decided, you know, Baron and whatever else other overworld I'll just save for later if necessary. Go underground, check out what the Feymarch boss is, since that is an objective, and kind of just go from there and do Dwarf and pick up a Dragoon, which wasn't super helpful at the start, but he certainly came online later in the game. So I guess that was my rationale behind it, just having that. When I get the early-ish Magma Key, I do like to go underground early with these type of flag sets if I can help it, especially with like a Feymarch objective. We have both that. We had a boss objective with Leviathan, and I knew that Leviathan wasn't at the first Baron castle spot from the opening cutscene, of course. So I thought, okay, I'll do Ordeals. Maybe I'll run into him or Demas. I never saw Demas in the entire seed. And then I'll just go underground, and you know, I got a boss hunt still to do. I got to peek at what the King of Feymarch is. I got to get a lot more experience for my guys. And I really need. And I was another thing is I really wanted to get underground because I really wanted Bacchus wines. With how weak my party was, I really needed just some ways and some better gear. So I guess it's like a bunch of things combined. The main thing is I wanted to get underground.
How good did it feel when you got through Cave Evelyn and found the edge waiting for you? I think you had 2 masses in your inventory at the time.
At the time, I had a ninja and a masa or something like that. I don't think I had 2 masas, but I had gear ready to go for him, and I was quite pleased. At the same time, I was sad because I also had a crystal sword, I believe, in my bags.
Yep, you sure did.
Ready for a paladin that would never to be, at least to my knowledge. But I was still happy to see the edge. You know, it was my 5th character. It's not great not to have like any white mage, but I just thought, okay, well, I can't pass up on the edge. I need the power, and I'll just load up on. I haven't found Cure 3s at that point, if I recall, so I'll find Cure 3s. It's somewhere on the overworld. It has to be, because I couldn't find it underground. And Cid and Tella will just play Alchemist, and the rest of my other 3 heroes are gonna have to go to town with damage as best they can, because I finally did find Bacchus wines from the Eblon shop. So yeah, I was very pleased to see that ninja there, and even more pleased to get through the hook route and see Leviathan at the top of tower and to peek that as well. So it all worked out there.
Yeah, my next question was going to be, when you saw the Leviathan, did you do any thought of just running right up and doing Keyless Tower? Beauty postulated that when you went to do the Feymarch at that point, the hope was that you'd find Tower Key, which you did. It didn't lead to anything, but what was going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, basically I knew I was going to have to do Feymarch eventually anyways, and another thing, I found the hourglasses, because like the underground shops were pretty barren, relatively speaking, besides the sirens. No Bacchus wines, no hourglasses, no coffins, nothing. And I peeked that King Feymarch spot early, having either the guards or the officer. I didn't even peek to see which one it was, but I knew it was one of them. So finding those hourglasses in the Eblon shop, I knew, okay, this is a freebie. I might as well do Fey March first, get that out of the way. Next to it is the dolls. Well, that's also a freebie because I have hourglasses on me. So I had two bosses, 2 key item checks, one of which was required. So that's why I just did it first. It just so happened to drop the tower key, which didn't lead to anything. I can't remember what it gave me, to be honest. An edge weapon, maybe? I can't recall, but yeah.
King was, yeah, it was, let's see what it was. I have it written down here somewhere. It was something of minimal.
It wasn't a key item, so yeah, it didn't really help out. Anything you want to ask, Rex?
You sort of hit on most of them. I think the big thing that I had was, when you're running Sumomo seeds, and I mentioned this on at the beginning of the broadcast, you're sort of stuck with sort of saying, okay, I know I'm only going to get 7 characters. I know that 5 of them are going to be my party. When you saw the Yang at the beginning, and they saw the Yang and Baron in, what's going through your head as far as your party makeup at this point in time?
Basically, I took the Yang at the start. Just, I guess with this seed, I'm kind of thinking, okay, I can kind of be liberal with my character choices at the start, and later on maybe a bit pickier. And so that's kind of why I took the Yang at the start. Obviously, the duplicate was in the Baron Inn, so even if I didn't take him at the start, likely I was going to be forced to take him there anyways. I mean, there's certainly a play to skip Yang at the start. He's okay in this flag set. He's not fantastic, but and then getting the Tella at Hobbs, which purely only took him just for utility, and he actually turned out to have some decent offensive power later on against a couple of bosses, surprisingly, because I had Stardust Rod and Rune Ring and some other things. So he actually was, I think he was like doing some lit 3s against some Octomams and stuff like that. But yeah, just I knew the character setup start was not going to be very good, and I was just kind of hoping for that 1 or 2 really good characters that could make up for it. Didn't really find it. The edge, you could argue, is certainly the Cane was decent. I didn't really have much in the way of offensive equipment, but it was, in the end, it turned out to be just enough, especially that edge. So I guess that's kind of the way I approach this seed flag set. Rather, is, you know, pick the first couple of characters more than likely, and then try and be picky later on. It wasn't really possible to be picky later on because there wasn't too many character checks and there was a duplicate character and stuff like that. But that's kind of the way I approached it personally.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, and GG, you were the top finisher in the race out of, I think they said 7 or 9 races or something like that. But you came out on top, and appreciate it. Anything else you want to talk to our viewers about before we let you go?
Nope, that is it. Had a good time. I love this flag set. It's run by Tall Grant. He does an asynchronous race of this every week for the time being. I assume until the event season starts up. So if you're interested, I'd recommend giving it a try. It's a fairly competitive flag set, but it's a really fun one, and it really, especially with the I think one of the coolest things, because you touched on this, is the see-buy flag, where you do have to strategize quite a bit with your character setup. It's not just like this character's whatever, but I can get rid of him or her later. No, you do have to, kind of think of it a bit deeper. So it's really a fun flag set, and glad it was chosen this week. And yeah, that's it. Thanks to you all for commentating and doing everything in the background and whatnot. I do appreciate it. And have a good night.
Thanks so much, Matic.
All right, we should be joined momentarily by Cubs Rule. Cubs Rule finished at 126.26. And there it is now. Cubs Rule, welcome, GG.
GG.
Yeah, congratulations. Really, really respectable time. I'm going to ask you the same first question that I asked Matic. What are you going to do with your 15 silver points?
Go again. I got to get a few more.
That's right. You need at least 60 for the Chrono Doll.
Yeah.
All right. I got a list of questions for you, and we're going to start with, what do you have against Yang?
Many things. I can't stand Yang in these settings early. I it helps having cat claws on the overworld, but that means you have to go find cat claws. He just does nothing early on. Like, if that had been Yang on the moon instead of Rosa, I would have taken Yang, figured out how to get him some levels and gone from there. But without 20 to 25 levels, Yang is terrible. Especially when I already have an HP sponge and Sid in the party.
You're not wrong, and I bet you it felt real good when you saw that one of the early characters was the second Yang hanging out at that Baron Inn.
Right.
I honestly, a little bit yes, because I knew I could get him later if I wanted. But that Tella on Hobbs was about as bad as it could get. I had some words for Beauty that I couldn't say on stream. I'm glad I was muted. At seeing that Tella, that is a terrible start that I basically was forced into.
Well, Beauty, I am sure, has never heard those words before, so it's good that you were muted.
Yes.
Innocent, pure soul, Beauty, and discovery. Gee whiz, I was going to ask a question. When did you decide to take the... What was the decision making when you decided to go check the harps? So there were still a couple options available for you at that point. I think we were talking it over. You had the Baron basement, which Matic faded Baron entirely. There was still the Queen. We can tell you that went to the Tower Key. But you chose, okay, at this point I'm doing harp, and that was obviously the correct play. What was the math there?
It was just I was on low health and was gonna need a heal, so might as well just go check Sheila 1 and then go do harp. There's really no better time.
Makes a lot of sense. What was the decision making around when you were going to do how you were going to grind? So you were able to grab those sirens, get a nice stack of them early. You decided to do the moon and pick up some gold dragons. So Matic went for sirens. What was the decision making around that?
I was sitting on 7 key items. I knew I would get an 8th from Ribbon Room. Side note, that CPU, there were more words exchanged there.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was fun. I figured the 1 siren would be enough to get Rosa to cure 4. And then, oh hey, I don't have tents. I don't have MP restoratives.
Right?
This is great! So that was a little bit of a white knuckle. I was honestly kind of hoping to at least get 1 out of Ribbon Room. Maybe find Pan. Maybe find something. I don't even know. Just to get me to 9 and maybe go fishing for a 10th on Earth with the pass. That changed when there were 2 in Ribbon Room and I walked into 10, and at that point it was just, alright, we're just going to do dragons and move on.
Makes a lot of sense. Rex, what do you got?
Well, first I am going to ask why. Let me rephrase. Let's put it this way: did you give any thought to taking the dolls while you were there? I know that.
Yes, I did. If I'd had, I found right at the end. I found that Soma drop for Tella. If I'd had that, I probably would have taken the dolls and just done Meteo. But it didn't really have a great method to deal with all 6 dolls at the time. I guess honestly, big doll's an option there, because it's only got like 10,000 HP or something around there. But I didn't want to try and fight it at that point.
Now I'm gonna ask you a question because I really didn't have a good answer, and we threw this around in the chat and what have you. Now you're sitting there at this spot. You've got an open character spot in your party. You have the darkness crystal. And you have Tella. Did you think about going to Giant?
No, not once the siren showed up.
Okay, that's what we landed on, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
There was a brief moment where I was thinking, all right, I got Edge, I got Kane, I got Sid. Mac Giant's an option. Wait a minute, what the hell am I thinking? I have Tella. This is D Machine. And then the Siren showed up, so no,
Yep.
it was yeah.
Yeah, we figured as soon as Sirens showed up, it threw out a play, but it was an interesting conversation to have because obviously the Giants an objective. You have to grind anyway. Had you not seen Leviathan yet, would have changed anything?
That actually coming off the hook route and seeing Leviathan there changed everything because that's what pushed me to the moon. Maybe.
Okay.
Because I mean, if that's not Leviathan, I don't go up tower.
Right.
So I'm searching forever at that point. Yeah.
Okay.
Shout outs to the double hunt on top of tower. Not even the boss is objective. It's just two hunt items.
Yep.
Required darkness crystal, required basically keyless tower, which is what you did. The tower key was behind the queen for reference. So,
and be glad you didn't take Baron Basement. Baron Basement was the D-Mist, which
I saw that on the roll. Yeah, that was
which would have given you the Earth Crystal from Meridia's mom, which would have sent you up to Zot. I mean,
we might have find out what that 7th character was. We did not see 7 characters.
Yeah, no. No, I it's sounds like it's either Giant Package or Zot.
No, we didn't check Saint Ruby either. It could have been Saint Ruby.
Another young. I just went and looked.
Oh, did you? Okay, another young. Great. But yeah, that's all I've got. That was a great run there, Cubs. Appreciate you allowing us to restream you and showcase the Sumomo Championship Racing flag set for our community.
I'm annoyed I had to keep Sid alive that long.
I think Elvin may still be in chat. You may have hushed down a little bit.
He knows exactly how I feel about him. I'm annoyed I had to keep Sid alive that long.
Fair enough.
I think Sid Fans is a club featuring but one. So
exactly.
Yes. He's a great hero because he's slow and I can keep him on the floor.
Yep. And we found out the Young fans is one person less as well tonight. So.
All
right. Appreciate
Young,
it.
Young is fine. Young is fine if I can swap him out or swap him in late. If I have to pick him up early and take him for the whole seed, no.
No.
I've gone solo Rydia out of Baron or out of the start before just to not take the Young.
I'm gonna mention this every time I'm commentating on one of your restreams. I want you to know that. Known Young hater, Cubs rule.
Good.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
That is a fact.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Cubs rule. GG's. Congratulations on a really, really good time on this seed, and I hope you're having a great night.
Yep. Appreciate both of you. Looking forward to watching this back. Zeno, Beauty, appreciate you both as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. See you next time.
Take care. All right, Veritas. Let's take a couple minutes here, real quick, and we still have 4 other racers in this race. Cubs will finish in 3rd. We still have 4 others going. One of them being Garen, who we're going to send our group to here momentarily. Let's get some closing word before we do that.
Yes, this is just a really, really fantastic race. Of course, we're going to pop over to Garen. Please, no spoilers in his chat.
Yeah.
Folks, we want to first of all say thank you to Cubs Rule and Matic for allowing us to restream them tonight. And to everyone else racing, GG's, whether or not you're down or not. Congratulations on taking on a really fun thing. Folks, big thank you to Beauty for restreaming, Xenocat for tracking, and Rex. Thanks for joining me in the booth tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Folks,
Always fun.
We will see you soon. But now we're going to pop on over to Garen. You all have a great, great evening. Take care of yourself this holiday season. I hope you have a great time with and get to see some of the people you care about. Take care.